equipment ready here.
Alright, the recording's on. So your your microphone as always is not working.
All right, the Senate meeting is now in session. As far as roll call goes, we have the Right Honorable Senator Miller, Chat, Ozzy, Froge, and Derpy here today. And our first topic of discussion is going to be the findings of the Committee of National Iconography. The Right Honorable Senator Chat, would you please approach the stand?
Of course. Honorable Speaker. So, I've tried to get my committee to meet a few times, and every time it's fallen out, but I'm trying to learn how to make a cool seal on Inkscape. It's not going very good, but I'm currently trying to make a seal for the Senate with like an accent and cool stuff in the middle. So that's gonna take a bit, but I am working on it, and we will have hopefully a first sketch like next week. Then after that, we can confirm a cool seal. That's all surrounding the findings of the committee. If anyone wants to question the committee's procedure and the such, like, feel free to come forward.
Right Honorable Speaker, move to dismiss the Committee of National Iconography.
So, as I said last week, because there were no findings last week, and there were no findings this week.
There are not no findings. There are some findings. I'm working on making a cool seal. It's just taking a bit because I don't know how yet.
But you have nothing to present to this meeting today?
I do. I just presented a bunch of stuff. I said I'm working on it, and I have some ideas surrounding what a seal could be, and yeah, that's pretty much it for now.
Okay. Well, I suppose we can work with that. But just please keep in mind that these are supposed to be.
And there's other committees that are not being pressed right now. Like has the Rebel Senators, has the military committee found anything? Can we have the chair of the military committee here? Have they had a single meeting?
So we had. Yeah, we did have. No, that is correct. I apologize because I didn't have this on the agenda. There was an Armed Forces Committee and a Separation of Powers Committee that was supposed to discuss their findings because we formed that last meeting.
Well, I'm afraid, right, honorable speakers, that some senators have not been keeping up with their duties, and there have been no committee meetings this week.
That being said, just for the future, for all committees going forward, we should try to make these expedient. But we will not pass a motion to dissolve, or I guess we're not even going to hold a motion to dissolve the Committee of National Iconography today.
Right, well, then I yield my time, Mr. Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Moving on, we are discussing the bill recently submitted, the Judiciary Expedience Act. Let me pull it out here. This was submitted by Senator Miller. It states that all ministers, with the exception of the Minister of Finance, which I should say I believe is supposed to be corrected to the Minister of Treasury, will be given the right to create indictments. 1A, the Senate, Premier, and President may overturn indictments written by the Minister of Defense and Minister of Interior. As well, officers in the military holding the rank of colonel or above may act as provisional judges should the need arise, and the Supreme Judge, or both President and Premier, must sign off on each matter requiring a provisional judge for it to take effect.
Right Honorable Speaker, may I take the floor for just a moment?
Yes, you may.
I'd wear my hat, but I don't have it the right color. Now, I'd just like to take the minute to reassure all of you, my fellow senators, that this act is merely so we can speed up the process when the need arises, as it has in Providence. This is not a takeover of the judicial system, but rather when the judicial system just cannot be put into play in a proper time, we can take it into our own manners and deal with it ourselves. As there had been 3 or 4 people in the Providence jail sitting there for almost 2 months before, well, bless their souls, they killed each other. And even then, they probably would have lasted there longer just because our judicial system could not allow for proper timing to take care of it within their own hands. That is all I'd like to say.
Mr.
Thank
Honorable
you.
Speaker, may I take the stand?
Yes, you may.
Honorable Senators, I do believe we should avoid giving the military control over any part of the judiciary. I do understand the want and the need to have a judiciary with more capacity. However, I do believe that the way of doing such is not by giving the military some power over the judiciary. Again, I understand the concern, and I do think something should be done about this. But I think we should keep our branches separate, and if we can keep the military and the judiciary completely separate, that would be amazing. That is all I have to say.
Right Honorable Speaker, may I take the stand?
Yes, you may.
So, as was stated in the bill, the Supreme Justice or the President and the Premier must actually sign off on military judges or military officers acting as judges to begin with. So, this is not necessarily giving the military more power than it already has. This is more so creating a provision for the Premier, the President, or the Supreme Justice to allow more manpower in the judiciary action. That's all I have to say.
Thank you. Right Honorable Senator B.
Mr. Honorable Speaker, may I take the stand?
Yes, you may.
Again, I would like to stress that even if the judiciary or the executive were to sign off on this, I do believe it is paramount to keep our branches separate like this and avoid intermingling between military law and judiciary law. I love our military and I love what they're doing for our country. I just do not love those people being judges in our system. That is all.
Right Honorable Speaker, may I take the stand again?
Yes, you may.
Right Honorable Speaker Mound, I hope you are aware that judiciary
Mr.
law is the
Honorable
same.
Senator.
I did say that, Right Honorable Senator Mound.
You said the Honorable Speaker Mound.
I thought I said Mount or Senator. Oh well, doesn't matter. I hope you understand that judiciary law and military law are one and the same, as the military is currently acting as the law enforcement of the Republic of Faro.
Well, Honorable Senator Derby, do you believe that police officers should be prosecutors, judges, and executioners all in one package?
In emergency circumstances, should the judiciary branch not have the ability to perform its duties, I believe it should be. I believe it should be the job. I believe it should be the job.
Mr. Honorable Senator, that
I
was
should
not
believe
my
it should be the
question.
job of the law enforcement to take care of this. I
Mr.
answered your question in my own statement.
Mr. Honorable Senator, that was not my question. My question: do you believe that the law enforcement should be the prosecution, judges, and executioners of the law?
If you cannot extrapolate what I said in my statement as an answer to your question, then what is going on here?
Mr. Honorable Senator, this is a yes or no question.
I don't believe it's as simple as that.
Well, I'm asking.
Let me put it simply. In times of extraordinary measures, it is necessary for the law enforcement to serve the job of the judiciary branch when the judiciary branch cannot uphold it.
Mr. Red Senator, do you believe the judiciary branch is not able to stand on its own?
I believe that currently there is not enough competent judges within the judiciary branch to fulfill its duties. The Supreme Justice has already been bogged down plenty enough and has not been able to obviously take care of the cases of the 3 to 4 people locked in the Providence jail for the last 2 months. In fact, they killed each other. They killed each other at their own hands because of this, because their trials were not expedient enough. This bill would seek to rectify this so that there is no more problems like this in the future.
Mr. Honorable Senator V, do you not believe that we should, instead of giving emergency powers to the military, should we not instead appoint a third judge to the judiciary so they could actually, a third competent judge, so they could take up some of the load that the Supreme Justice has not been able to take?
I believe that if there were any more people of that degree of competency, the justice system would have already hired those people. I believe that we have plenty enough competency within the military branch to fulfill this duty.
Well, I have a quick question, Mr. Honorable Senator. If there's no one else in the country that is competent enough to be a judge other than our Supreme Justice, then why on earth would colonels in the military be competent enough to be judges?
Because they're colonels in the military and not judges.
But they would need to act as judges, Mr. Honorable Senator.
Yes, because there's already a distinction between the separation of powers. They chose to serve their country as soldiers and not as judges.
Yes, so then why should they be allowed to serve as judges if they're not competent judges?
They would be competent judges. The thing is that they had to pick. They chose to serve their country on the battlefield rather than in the courts.
Yes.
So this bill would allow them to serve in both.
But Mr. Honorable Senator V, what you're saying does not make sense. They are competent colonels, sure, but that
what I'm saying is
being a competent military man is not the same as being a competent judge man.
Can they not be competent of both? They are competent of both.
But if they were competent judges, we would have hired them as judges instead of hiring them as colonels. But they're more
Speaker, may I take the floor for just a moment?
Yes, you may. Please try to keep forward.
Can I finish what I have to say first, Mr. Reynolds?
Yes, you may.
Of course.
You may.
So, I believe that we need... You said that we do not have enough competent judges to fill our Supreme Court, but then you said that the colonels are competent enough to be judges. Then riddle me this, Mr. Honorable Senator V. Why are they not judges?
Because they chose to be soldiers to begin with. They chose to serve their country on the battlefield. There is no law in the Republic of Faru that says that a man with the knowledge of the courts must serve the courts. No, they chose out of their own free will to serve in the military.
And I'd just like to add on that this act is simply to ensure that no bogged down processes like what has happened in Providence can keep on happening when we can speed it up in a fair and just manner in accordance to the law.
Furthermore, Honorable Senators, I do believe that something as serious as this should be an amendment to the Constitution. Otherwise, something as important as this cannot just be decided by a majority of our senators. Rather, it should need a supermajority, as it is of the utmost gravity.
I disagree, since the...
Well, with no offense, Mr. Honorable Senator V, but you're a communist, so of course you would not respect the sanctity of our Constitution.
Do not denounce my ideology, you bourgeois scum.
Well,
okay, all right. Both sides keep order.
Both of you, calm it down.
I believe in the sanctity.
Yes, right, Honorable Senator Faroga.
I believe in the sanctity of our Constitution and our nation, and you're trying to walk over it by changing your judicial process with a simple law. This is the soul of our nation, and you're trying to walk over it.
All of the power still resides in the executive branch and the leaders of the judicial branch. There is no power being selectively brought into the military itself. That is completely given to the military.
People of the armed forces more orders to follow should the government choose to give them these orders.
Well, I believe, Honorable Senators, that the government should not be able to issue these orders. I understand the concern that this law tries to address, but I believe there are more healthy ways to answer those concerns than allowing the government to assign colonels as judges if need be.
Senator?
Such as?
Such as hiring a third Supreme Justice, maybe establishing lower courts in our great nation. There are some towns that have their own courts, such as Liberty City. Why can't other towns and cities have local courts to deal with petty crime instead of bogging down the Supreme Court with constant petty crime? Should our Supreme Justices be dealing with petty civil cases and petty criminal cases? No, they should not. They should deal with the most important of cases of in our great country, such as constitutional issues and high crime and treason.
From what I understand, when there was a court case, the last court case in Liberty City, trying a Mr. Vladimir, I think it was a complete kangaroo court, from what I understand. They did not have any professional judges on hand. It was an absolute mess, from what I've heard.
Well,
you want to hire these people into our national judiciary system?
I think.
And let's also mention the higher part. Has it not been recently talked about, or I should say leaked by a certain force within the government, that the treasury of the government is just not up to par?
This is true.
Mr. Honorable Senator, what relevance does this have?
You talk about hiring, that's just going to bury the government within a debt that it cannot repay.
Honorable Senators.
Well,
if I may. First of all, let's not talk about qualification. Let's not talk about kangaroo courts and a lack of qualification with the, what did you say, the Vladimir case? In the case of Vladimir, when you're proposing hiring members of the military to the courts.
The thing is that they hired some random person in Liberty City to take on that court case. These people who serve in the military are plenty competent enough, considering they have achieved the rank of colonel. It's colonel or above.
Let it be known that they are not being hired to do this. This is simply in addition to their orders, should the government choose to give them to them.
And I want to note, speaking of the budget, the Right Honorable Senator V has suggested upwards of 10,000 liras being
this has been brought down.
The military.
This has been.
You said that we are being irresponsible with our spending, and
I did not say you were being
down.
irresponsible. I'm saying it's a bad idea. There's a difference.
Well, maybe we should cut the military's demands on spending before we talk about something about. Mr. Right Honorable Senator V, I am not. I think you cannot say that spending like 50 liras on a judge to carry justice faster is bogging down our finances when it's something that is very important to our nation.
Well, do you understand what is also important to our nation? The military is important to our nation, and I personally understand how much a single set of armor, a single set of support equipment costs for these soldiers. It is extraordinarily expensive. I talked to the president myself on how we can lower this budget, and I have collaborated with him on getting a budget that fits the current needs of the government as best as possible, while also allowing for the needs of the military. It has been very hard to get this done, and I have worked very hard on doing this. So please, show some respect to our military.
I am just saying that we should not talk of bogging down our finances when we're already talking about the military. That is a non sequitur.
Yet, with what we're trying to push, there would be no bogging of finances. It would just be an extension of military orders if given.
Excuse me. I feel it may be pertinent to mention that would trial by a volunteer judge taken from the military officers not constitute a military trial?
I don't believe so, because these aren't military judges. They would be provisionally civilian judges.
And they would not be trials of military officers, soldiers, or anyone in the military in every single given time. It would be trials of citizens
A military
can-
trial would constitute someone being tried under military law. No, these would be constituted
Under
trying
civil
someone
law.
under civil law and criminal law.
Right honorable senators, why can we not just have more volunteer judges that are vetted by our supreme justices to make sure that they are up to par and be able to take some of the load off the supreme justice before we jump to such radical measures?
There's already plenty enough competency within the military to serve this. There is no need to expand the government's size than it already is.
We're talking about like adding we already need to get a third supreme justice, and it would not hurt to have maybe two not supreme justices or something like that.
Inferior courts.
Yes, we do need inferior
Again,
courts
this
regardless.
is a provisional requirement. Yes, this is not an all the time thing.
Again, why use a band-aid solution when you could have an actual solution, Honorable Senator V?
It's not a band-aid
Because
solution.
this is an actual solution to the problem.
Right honorable senators.
Plenty enough.
What is a band-aid?
It is
Oh,
it is a medical item you apply to a bleeding spot on your body, as best simply put.
It is it is a small adhesive bandage.
They've invented adhesive bandages.
Wait, fuck.
Yes, they have invented adhesive
Good job,
bandages.
guys.
Our great former leader Kenneth Infaru came during the battles of the Cossack Wars and invented it to provide to our medics.
Here, here.
I can't believe that you all
Science
forgot
is-
about that.
Yeah.
Science is incredible.
It truly is.
But I think, no, actually, out of character, band-aids were invented in 1920 and it's 1921.
Fuck!
Okay, fine.
I thought it was anachronism. Alright, it's over.
But
Anyways, go on.
the expression might be an anachronism.
Well, yeah, the company, the product, yeah, but the adhesive bandage, no. So that makes sense.
Well, no, the company's the one that invented it. But anyways,
Besides, I could see the utility of volunteer judges pulled from the officer corps in times of emergency. But we should also work towards establishing a system of inferior courts while we're not in a state of emergency.
while we're at it, why not just let anyone be an emergency judge if the courts need them? Why limit ourselves to the military?
Because the military, specifically the stipulations include colonel and above. That way we actually have competent people serving this. If we get some bum from an Urbis slum to go and serve in our court, then it is completely
Right
irresponsible.
honorable senator, do not insult my city. Your province.
I didn't insult your city.
Yes, you did.
Or a mark
Your city grew out of the side of Urbis. And
I could easily say a province bum, an Urbis bum.
Whether they have come from Urbis, Providence, Markarth, Syrinx, it does not matter where. What we know is that there are not a lot of competent people able to provide the needs of a provisional judge. However,
I think the
higher
requirements-
officer within the military can be capable and has proven to be capable in multiple regards on the field and off the field.
I think we should have, at the very least, the requirement should not be being a military officer, but rather being able to pass a bar test. And
Which has not been established.
The Supreme Justice has spoken of bar tests before and
Spoken,
has
but they
administered
have not
them.
instituted it.
Well, then maybe we should with a law, because it's our power as the Senate.
And this is the same Supreme Justice who's working on, what, 3 books now?
Seems to be.
They're piled up to their
They do
necks
a
in
lot of
paperwork.
writing.
It's their own.
It's going to
Supreme
keep the
Justice-
system slow just to ensure what? Maybe like one day quick, wherein what we are suggesting can take away a week's worth of process.
And as I understand it, did this Supreme Judge not just take a vacation for a week?
He did.
They have left our republic without a justice. They've left it to their
We have
inferior
another judge,
inferior
and we
peer.
will soon assign a new judge.
And this other judge, when's the last time anyone's seen him?
I have not seen this judge once
So
commit
we
into an
have
actual
one on
official.
vacation, one who's dead, God's rest their soul, and one who might as well be MIA at this rate.
I see that justice
Comrades?
on every now and then.
Comrades?
They should just. They are a bit
And
inactive in the
is
judicial
it in a
side.
timely manner?
If I may propose a compromise, I think we can all see the utility of being able to hire volunteer judges in times like these. Perhaps we could amend the bill to also include provisions for the establishment of a national bar exam and inferior courts.
I do believe that would be more useful as a completely different bill, because at this point we're talking about something completely different. This is a bill about military officers being able to be judges in times of emergency. But I do agree, Honorable
Would
Senator
the
Farage.
would the lower courts not also compromise the judiciary integrity of the republic,
How?
since they are subject to less scrutiny than the Supreme Court itself?
Every country on Earth, Honorable Senator V, has lower courts, because not every case should go to the Supreme Court. In the great nation of Anguilla, do you think in every case of petty theft, they're just gonna go see the Supreme Justice? That's why we're bogged down. It's because we do not have lesser courts, and instead we just have the highest court for everything.
Because there's hardly any people able to fit the role that's required of a lower court.
Which is why in times like these, we were volunteer judges, provisional volunteer judges from the officer corps.
Right.
Let's
We can
try
do
to
well.
wrap this up pretty soon, everybody, because we still have a couple bills to discuss here.
Well, I just want to publicly announce my intention to vote nay on this bill once the vote comes.
Thank you.
Right honorable senators, may I propose a negotiation?
You may.
If we can work together,
You're having some trouble speaking.
bar exam. Sorry. Work towards implementation of a bar exam.
Senator Farroga, are you feeling okay?
Senator, are you alright?
Mr. Speaker, I do believe that there is a problem with Senator Farroga.
Yeah, let's give him a moment
I'm
here.
perfectly fine. Can you
If we have to, we can table this for the free slot. If that works for everyone.
I'm fine with that.
Works for me.
All right, Frosh, we're gonna. I'm sorry, we're gonna have to table this until the free slot. So please return to your seats, everyone. That's okay. That'll work. All right. Oh, okay. Sorry, they were typing.
Oh.
Okay. Well, keep that chat in mind, and we'll come back to it. I promise. So,
Alright.
all right. Moving on, we had the Marshals Act that was meant to be deliberated on. I will reread the Marshals Act just so everyone's on the same page. This was submitted by President John McHale, labeled "A Bill to Create New Regions for the Purpose of Law Enforcement." Number one, the nation will be divided into 3 to 5 geographic regions for the purposes of this bill. This division could be conducted by the Minister of Interior once the bill is passed, and all regions should be approximately equal in size. Each region will be assigned a marshal in charge of keeping the peace and resolving local disputes. The marshals will also be appointed to terms of 8 weeks by the Minister of Interior with approval from the President, and marshals may be dismissed from their post by the President or the Minister of Interior at any time. If passed, the marshals appointed prior to the July presidential election will serve until a week following that election. Marshals appointed by the government following the election will serve the full term. The terms of the marshals can be renewed indefinitely. Individuals convicted of crimes will not be eligible for marshal, and the marshal has the ability to deputize citizens to assist in law enforcement. Additionally, marshals may officially request the government declare a regional state of emergency in the case of the collapse of order, and a new Department of Justice will be formed within the MOI that will oversee the marshals. Now, unfortunately, we don't have President McHale here today to, present their argument for this bill. But if anyone would like to present, an argument for or against this bill, please come up.
Right on, Speaker, I'd like to speak.
Yes, you may.
So originally, I was a proponent of this bill. However, after recent considerations and taking a look at the bill itself, I have found that the provisions described within the bill are merely adding unnecessary bureaucracy onto the government, because the department, or rather the Ministry of Defense, can already do everything provided within the bill within their own powers that they currently have. So I believe it's unnecessary to pass this at the moment.
Thank you.
That's all I have to speak.
Does anyone else have any comments about this bill?
May I take a look at it, please?
Yes, you may.
Yes,
Thank you.
this is a very lengthy bill. Maybe it would be wise to put it on the table for the senators to examine.
Why does it keep going to me?
Here, yeah, you can put
Curse
it.
book,
You
evil
can put it
book.
on this table here to read. I think that might be easier for senators to read it.
We should just start doing that.
Alright. Honorable Speaker, may I take the stand?
Yes, you may.
Honorable Senators, this bill might seem controversial and might seem like it's just adding unnecessary bureaucracy, but I do believe that it will bring a balance and demilitarization of law enforcement, which is needed within our nation. I love our military and I love what it's doing, and it won't be stopped by this bill from doing its important duty of keeping the order in the nation. However, it will create a civilian force that will be able to enforce the law in a more friendly manner and in a manner more connected to our communities. So I do, in fact, support this bill.
May I come to the stand?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Mr. Right Honorable Speaker. I find that I agree with my comrade, Mr. Right Honorable Senator Mound here. I have before proposed informally the formation of a sheriff's system, and I find that this much in line with that vision, and I think that someday this marshal system could produce viable candidates for inferior court judges, civilian inferior court judges.
Well said, Honorable Senator New. I think that's it for me as well.
All right, thank you. All right, does anyone else have any more comments about this bill? Excellent. All right.
It would be real nice to have a clerk to have the bill to take the bill from the speaker to the stand.
Yeah, if only. Maybe Kenneth Cat Faru can do it. All right. All right. Next, we're going to be discussing a bill that was recently submitted by the Right Honorable Senator Mound, called the Fundamental Taxation and Budgeting Act. So I'll
Mr. Honorable Speaker, may I request to read the bill in front of the Senate myself?
Sure, why not? Here you go.
All right. So this bill, everyone, this act, it aims to fix the problems of the current taxation system, which is basically inexistent. And it also aims to start the reform of a monetary system and help start moving towards a more robust monetary system that people can trust and that we can trust as well as the government. So the first thing it does is repealing the Poll Tax Act, because it frankly hasn't worked. However, you will notice that what follows is going to be similar to the Poll Tax Act because it had the right spirit behind it. It just needed some changes. So it creates a new poll tax of 10 lira or 3 diamonds per head. Furthermore, this tax is going to be collected monthly by the Ministry of the Interior, by whatever means they have to take. So it is still the responsibility of the mayors to collect the tax in advance from the citizens. However, if they're not responsible enough to meet this duty, the Ministry of the Interior may use any means necessary to extract the tax from towns. The Ministry of the Interior is also going to keep logs of how much tax income has been collected from who and where, and once the taxes are collected, the funds are going to be handed off to the Ministry of the Treasury, which is to report the amount of the taxes to the Senate, which then is going to be responsible to create a budget, and this is important, for the next month. So let's say we collected taxes in June, but those taxes we're going to do the budget for. Can I get an answer from you guys for? That's right, for July. So, and in addition to the tax income for the budget, it can use borrowing, donations, it can create state minor operations if you want, etc., to create the budget. It doesn't have to just use the tax income, it can use any income it has in front of it. And finally, it gives the Ministry of the Treasury the duty and power to execute the budget to the best of their abilities. And that's all there is for this bill.
Right Honorable Speaker, could I speak on this bill?
Yes, you may.
So, if I may make it apparent, the budget that me and the president happen to be going over stipulated that there would be a necessity of about 2,000 diamonds to currently supplant the needed amount of lira that would be printed for the next government budget. I don't believe that any of the taxes provided in this this bill here would come even close to properly fulfilling the needs of the budget. In fact, I think it's adding too much stress onto the citizens of Faru when the alternative that me and the president have to come up with was using laborers from the military that was functionally replacing the DLA, to go and mine diamonds to provide for the liras printed.
If I may, the this bill does account for such provisions where the state could theoretically supplement its budget with such state mining operations. However, I do believe that we need taxation, and we need to get our citizens used to being taxed, and this poll tax will not be enough to cover the entire budget that the president wants. It will be a start to getting our citizens accustomed to the idea of taxation, and over time
But
we can have more progressive and more complex taxes. However, right now this is a start to a tax system that will improve greatly this nation.
but would there be any necessity for taxes when all the money for the government can actually be acquired through mining rather than taxing citizens directly? Because as I understand right now, most citizens of Faro are in fact quite poor, and the stipulations included in this bill would require them that they give up their hard-earned money as of right now, much of which they need to sustain
Womp
themselves.
womp.
Please maintain order.
Right now, Senator Mount, did you just say womp womp?
Yeah, I just said womp womp. Most people decided to sell in Faru, and you know what? If people don't want to contribute to our nation, they can just fucking leave at some point. Like,
Red Over Senator, I do
or
believe that they are contributing by simply living here and providing infrastructure from their labor. I don't believe that they need to give up any further amounts of their money to the government when the government can generate its own revenue.
why not both? Those are not mutually exclusive.
Why
things.
not both? Because the people deserve the right to
Wah,
keep their own money.
All right,
You're a
maintain order.
communist, and you hate Faru, and you hate us having any sort of state capacity.
Right, Albert Senators, do I need to make it any
Wah,
furtherly
wah.
obvious
The
that
Right
the
Honorable Senator Mount, I'm warning you.
Make
I
Farun
have
great
seen
again.
you are now
to
in contempt of
oppress
this
our
board.
people?
Communist. You want
I would
to
like to make it apparent that I have
you
been
want to
Right
assaulted.
Honorable
I have
enslave
been
our
Senator Mount,
assaulted
I'm
by the
ejecting you
bourgeois.
from this
Senator,
meeting.
Senator, let's calm
What?
down.
With the power vested in me as the Speaker of the Senate, I am ejecting you from this meeting for disorderly conduct.
This is a disgrace.
See now, people of Faru, see that this is what the libcons
Senator,
want. This is what
not
they
how
want.
You can go against them.
Boo. You made him fight.
leave.
Boo.
I call upon the Senate to rectify this injustice, as I am being
Let
silenced
him
by a
stay.
communist
Let him
a communist
stay.
speaker.
This is
a communist
censorship.
speaker. A communist speaker that has
Senator.
leaked state secrets against the will of the cabinet. I call for you, senators, to rectify this injustice.
If he leaves, I leave as well.
All right, we
Then
have two
leave.
people leaving. We're going to continue this meeting, however.
Right Honorable Speaker, may I call a move to dismiss Senator Mound for a gross negligence of their duty and a disrespect of our system, our legislative system?
That motion is denied. They've already been dismissed from the meeting. I'm not going to make any motion to dismiss them as senator.
Speaker. Stand.
Yes, you may.
I would like to take a look at the bill myself, if you
Oh.
would please return it.
Yeah,
My
of course.
apologies. Thank you very much.
Red Honorable Speaker, if I may, that is a very excellent color of cap you have on.
Thanks.
Speaker?
I
A very nice change of color, Speaker.
Speaker.
Do you have any
Honorable
comments,
senators, this
Roga?
is a coup. This is a coup.
Did those
The speaker has done a communist coup upon the Senate.
What? No.
change color?
Farun has gone woke.
That's-
Farun has gone woke.
Woke.
What is this?
I call
Woke.
upon the
I was
senators
trying to
to
mess
walk
up
I
out the
order you to
Senate.
be quiet. As a
Expel
member
the
of the
I
military,
call
speaker.
I
upon
order you to
Expel
be
the
quiet.
citizens to walk on the
speaker.
Senate to
Expel
defend
the
our
speaker.
democracy.
What is-
Maintain order. Whoa, hey,
Whoa, 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 whoa,
say,
whoa,
hey,
whoa,
hey,
whoa.
I
hey,
order you to be
please,
quiet.
Hey, please, take off your armor.
You can't
bro.
wear armor in a Senate seat. He's
Hey,
dismissing.
everyone,
He's destroying.
Please, come on.
Dismiss him. Dismiss him.
So let's
He's
maintain
broken
order.
the sanctity of the Senate.
You may be
I
my
think you
boss,
broke the
but I
sanctity of
stand
the
before
Senate
the
first.
Republic, sir. Do not put
I
your
stand
armor
for
on
the
me.
Republic as well.
Get on him, Miller. Get on him,
All right,
Miller.
hold on,
He's
hold
a
on, guys.
patriot.
Let's relax. Let's relax. All right, let's
Relax.
just try to get through this last little bit here, okay? Faroga, do you have any comments about this bill, or are you sitting? Is he okay?
Senator? Senator, can you hear me?
I don't think you can hear us.
Senator, can you hear me?
Did he just pass out?
All right, I'm afraid we're going to have to move the rest of the discussion for another meeting. Motion to adjourn.
I
Aye.
Okay. All right. This meeting is adjourned.
Those were blanks.
Yeah.
Novak, you're telling me that you shoot blanks?
That's right. You guys can't be chill for one